Alright, so I wanted to make a quick video because of snow days and days out. Miss Trace and I are going to miss a lot of time, especially with Block 5. So you're on your own a little bit today doing some review. So I just picked a couple key problems from 8.1 to 8.3, similar to those that are going to be on an upcoming quiz, and I just wanted to work them out for you on this video, so hopefully that will help you a little bit during your review session tomorrow. So the first one is a negative exponent problem. If I have negative 2x to the negative third power, first thing I want to say about this is negative exponents don't have anything to do with the sign of the answer. They have to do with the idea of finding the reciprocal. So for this particular problem, there's a negative inside the exponent, inside the parentheses, and there's an odd exponent. So flipped or not flipped, this is negative. In this case, I'm not thinking about that. Right now, I'm thinking about just the 3, that there's an odd exponent and there's a negative sign in there. So what I did today in class, some of you might remember, is I thought if there's an odd exponent on there, it's like, think about negative 1. And if I take that to the third power, it's negative 1 times negative 1 times negative 1. That's equal to, if I do this part first, that's 1 times negative 1. It's negative 1. Anytime there's a negative exponent right here, it's going to end up, and there's a negative inside, that odd exponent ends up with a negative answer. So keeping that all in mind, I don't need to keep that here for now, keeping that in mind, the answer for this problem is going to be negative, but I need to take everything to the third power. So let's deal with this negative exponent first. There's no particular order in which you can apply the properties. You can apply them in different orders. I first want to get rid of the negative exponent. It's driving me crazy. Okay? So like I talked to my class, this whole thing is in the numerator. If this negative exponent is in the numerator, it wants to be in the denominator. And when I do that, and I put him in the denominator, he's happy. He's positive. There he is. Okay? So now I'm still not finished though with this problem because I need to apply the power of a product property. So I need to take each number, the negative 2 to the third power and the x to the third power. And finally, when I take that negative 2 to the third power, negative 2 times negative 2 is 4 times negative 2 is negative 8x cubed. And of course, you guys know this negative sign can be here or here or here. It doesn't matter where it is. The answer, the fraction, is negative. Okay, let's take a look at another problem. And this is applying mostly properties from 8.1. I just picked a few problems that used a lot of, had more steps. Oops. I want to put the parentheses here. And I'm going to put another negative number in there for good measure. Okay. So I'm going to simplify each factor. I'm going to simplify this first, and then I'm going to simplify this. Okay. So if I just think about this first one, I'm going to take power of a product. This right here is a product because it's only multiplication in there. If there's addition or subtraction in there, I can't apply the power of a product property. So I'm going to take each number or term in there to the second power. 2 squared, you know what, let's just go ahead and put 4. 2 squared is 4. X to the third power squared, x to the third power squared, power of a power property. That's when I multiply the exponents. So that's x to the 6th. Okay, I'm just going to clean that up. And then y squared. All right, now I'm going to deal with this one. Negative 4 to the third power. Okay, negative 4 times negative 4 is 16 times negative 4. So that's going to be negative 64. I'm just going to go ahead and put negative 64. X, you don't have to erase all this work on a test or quiz. I'm just doing it for demonstration purposes here. X squared to the third power, that's power of a power. So if I'm raising a power to a power, these numbers right here get multiplied. That's x to the 6th, and then this will just be y to the third. Remember that power of a product is almost like the distributive property. I'm taking each one to the third power. All right. Now I have to do some multiplication. So let's see here. I have 4 times negative 64. Why did Mrs. Siskey pick such big numbers for this problem? 24, 25. So negative 256 It's a positive times a negative. Here I've got similar bases, x to the 6th times x to the 6th. If I consider those two, that's product of powers. If the bases are the same, we add the exponents. So that's x to the 12th. And then let's clean this off and just focus on the y's. Y squared, y to the 3rd. Product of powers. I'm going to add those exponents. Okay? You should be able to successfully do a problem like that for our quiz later next week. One more. I just can't get enough of these problems. All right. 3x squared y over 4x cubed y to the 4th times negative 16x squared y cubed and 15x to the 5th y. Of course, you can pause this and try it first and then hear my explanation. That'd be a great strategy. I'm going to, again, you can apply properties in different orders, but I'm going to just simplify each fraction first, the most that I can. So I'm going to consider the x's first right here. And again, over on the side, that's just x squared over x to the 3rd. I'm going to subtract the exponents. That leaves me x to the negative 1, which means that's 1 over x. So leaving the 3 and the 4 right where they are, the x is going to be in the denominator. And I'm just going to use the same space over here. For that y, it's the same idea. Y to the 1st, and I'm just subtracting. Again, if there's no exponent there, it's a 1. It's always a 1. And then over y to the 4th, that's y to the 1 minus 4, or y to the negative 3, which is equal to 1 over y cubed. So that y cubed is in the denominator. Okay, let's deal with this fraction. The number part can't be reduced, so I'm going to leave that there. X squared over x to the 5th. Again, it's that same idea. Power of a quotient, we're going to subtract. That's x to the 2 minus 5, or x to the negative 3rd, or 1 over x cubed. So that x cubed is in the denominator. And then last but not least, let's simplify those that y to the 3rd over y to the 1st. If there's no exponent there, there's a 1 there. So that's y to the 3 minus 1, or y squared. So that's in the numerator. Exhausting. Okay. Before I just start willy-nilly multiplying, I'm going to cross-cancel a little bit first, because this is multiplying fractions, we can cross-cancel. So I see here a 3 and a 15. I'm going to go ahead and they're each divisible by 3. So that's 1, and that's 5. Let's just get rid of that highlight if I can. And let's do that same process for the negative 16 and the 4. I see they have a common 4. 1, negative 4. Okay, let me just get rid of the highlight. Okay, I can also cross-cancel the y's, but I think just for now I'm just going to rewrite the fraction. It's getting kind of messy. So this is just 1 times everything over here. 1 times everything over here. So that's just, the new numerator is going to be negative 4y squared over the 1 and then everything here times everything here. So that's, let's see. Oh, I've got product of powers. Oh, I'm sorry, I'll stick with red. X to the 1st times x to the 3rd is x to the 4th, and then y cubed. Still not done, because I can deal with this, with these y's right here. Oopsie. Sorry. With these y's. So if I just write that on the side, that y, if I just break this out, that's y to the 2 minus 3, that's y to the negative 1, that's 1 over y. So there's just a y in the denominator, and the rest is going to go away. X to the 4th, and that y in the denominator. So, long explanation for a couple problems, but maybe it helps. Finally, too, I'll try to put this in the feed somewhere, but I'm also going to put up documents if you want to build a foldable on your own. You have about 3 or 4 or 5 days before we meet again over this over this weekend because of field trips and whatnot. So if you want to build a foldable as an extra study tool, that's an option. So I'm going to put all that information on Schoology, and if you want to make that optional way for you to have a nice study tool for you to memorize these properties. The key is knowing how the properties work, and then the rest is just applying them in different situations. Good luck.